My name is Jessica Richman. I'm a Director of Investment and Quantum Technologies Lead for the Australian Trade and Investment Commission, Austrade. We are the commercial arm of the Australian government, and I'm based in the consulate in San Francisco. Today I'm going to talk about engaging with Australia's quantum ecosystem. First, I do want to just throw out some interesting facts. Did you know Australia invented Wi-Fi, cochlear implants, the black box recorder, the beginning of what became Google Maps, polymer banknotes, the refrigerator, and less notable but still very exciting, boxed wine. So Australia, we are a nation of innovators, and within the quantum realm, that is no exception. So some of Australia's quantum advantages, 30 years research in 30 years of leadership in quantum research, 25 plus quantum research institutions, a variety of quantum companies, 14 national centers of excellence, 1 billion pledged by the government to grow critical new technologies. The point I really want to focus on, though, is although Australia is 0.3% of the global population, we have generated 10% of the world's quantum scientists. So I'm sure anyone who has been in this industry for whether it's a day to 10 years to 20 years knows someone who is from Australia or has studied in Australia. Actually, just for a show of hands, if you know someone from Australia or who studied in Australia in quantum, can you raise your hand? Yeah, quite a few people. So we have a bit of a quantum diaspora that has gone throughout the world, to the United States, to Canada, parts of Europe and Asia as well. Australia has a variety of capabilities across a variety of states and territories. We have significant competency, I would say. What we're known for is the work in silicon that we do, and also in photonics and optics. And we have a variety of companies as well doing work in diamond technologies and superconductivity. What I will say, as well as kind of a preface to the rest of this presentation, is one of the things Australia is very focused on when it comes to quantum technologies is the integration of quantum technology and semiconductors. So from a semiconductor perspective, we're going to be working in the next few years on what a semiconductor strategy looks like, and it is incredibly important to us, and we understand the value of the integration and the importance of the semiconductor supply chain to the quantum technology industry. And so that is going to be definitely a continuing conversation. And given some of the kind of friendships we have with some key allies throughout the world, that being integrated into part of the supply chain is going to be a key part as well as we continue on this journey. So we released a national quantum strategy in May of this year. It's focused on 5 themes: creating a thriving research and development, investment in and use of quantum technologies within Australia, access to essential quantum infrastructure and materials, which is kind of part of that supply chain part I mentioned, a trusted, ethical, and inclusive quantum ecosystem, so similar to what Canada touched on a bit at the end, standards and frameworks that support national interests, and a skilled and growing quantum workforce. And I kind of touched on that earlier in terms of the diaspora that we have and the talent that we still have in the country. So currently there's a couple of different projects, and I'll say pools of money that we have in Australia that are accessible. The one that was most recently announced in terms of getting ready to become actionable is the $15 billion National Reconstruction Fund. And that emerged kind of as an answer to COVID and basically re-envisioning what Australia's economy looks like. There's going to be a lot of focus as well around manufacturing over time with regards to that $15 billion. So we are very interested in R&D. But what we are very interested in is how do you take that R&D and then create it into something that is commercializable and manufacturable that can then be exported. It can become part of a larger global supply chain. A couple of other things, we also announced as part of that strategy, $60 million for critical technologies. And most recent, there is essentially an RFP out for an Australian Centre for Quantum Growth. It's roughly $18 million, and we are looking for entities or consortia of organizations who would like to basically run that, and that is going to be the front door for all things quantum in Australia. So if you are keen to learn more about that, please come to me or send me a note. The Defense Advanced Strategic Capabilities Accelerator, which is a mouthful. We really like acronyms. I guess all governments like acronyms. But DASCA is a $3.4 billion initiative over a decade, and that is focused on a variety of different technologies, obviously related to defense. One of the things that has emerged recently in that is an RFP out for specifically focused on quantum technologies and writing a white paper on quantum technologies and innovation for further collaboration within this accelerator. I also have more information on that. That RFP is out, and it's going to be out for the next month and a half or so. We also have some other kind of technology roadmaps and a PNT Starshot program that lies within defense. We also have Australia's Economic Accelerator, which is really focused on commercializing a lot of the technology in universities. So there are opportunities for companies and organizations to partner with researchers in Australia to access funds that can then be used for commercialization. And obviously international collaboration. A couple things on that front that are recent. So last Friday, we had the AUKUS defense ministers issued a joint statement. And as part of that joint statement, and that was they met at kind of NASA Moffett Field. As part of that joint statement, there was a discussion around the importance of quantum PNT and collaborating together on co-creation in that space. The other thing is we have now something called the Quad Investor Network, and the Quad Investors Network, Q-Control is a really good example of a participant in that. They are partnering with the Quad Investors Network to basically provide education to a variety of educational institutions within Australia and within the United States. So one of the things that is not particularly unique to Australia, but is nonetheless very important to elevate, is the fact that in addition to federal programs, we have every state and territory within Australia is very interested in, I'll just call it, winning your business. So in particular, there is significant competitive tension between the states in order to basically have companies set up, bring new capabilities, bring jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So there are programs now within these 4 states in particular where there are access to funds, and they're very competitive to try to basically get companies to come set up. Queensland specifically announced a strategy around this. Victoria has a $2 billion fund called Breakthrough Victoria. A big part of that is investing in quantum technologies. They also have a digital jobs incentive where companies can get funding to basically upskill people. So really, you know, South Australia, which is where a lot of defense work is happening, also has, they didn't put a particular number on it, but they're very happy to entertain discussions given the right opportunities. And then New South Wales, obviously, where a lot of capabilities are. They do a lot of work in the transportation sector for quantum technologies. So Australia has a variety of companies. Frankly, this is probably outdated at this point, but these are homegrown companies that are in Australia across computing, sensing, comms, software and error correction, enabling technologies, so a lot of technologies that are focused on kind of the testing and learning, some competitors to Keysight, et cetera, and then also some consultancies as well. A lot of international companies partnering on quantum in Australia as well. Also not very exhaustive, and the list is growing constantly with new opportunities and RFPs that are opening up. Some additional developments, there's now a Center of Excellence in Quantum Biotechnology, which pretty much is fairly self-explanatory. It's focused on applications with using quantum within the biotechnology realm. There's also an international conference on quantum energy, which is actually occurring right now in Australia, which is how do you apply quantum technology for basically new sources of energy and sustainability. There's a University of Sydney Qubit Foundry, which is focused on upskilling more and more people so they're ready to work with industry. The CSIRO Technologies Future Platform, which is our national science research organization, and different programs that they're running. And then going back to that semiconductors part, the S3B is basically it's a semiconductor service bureau, which is focused on partnering with organizations who have semiconductor capabilities, whether it's manufacturing, education, design, and that they're going to be playing heavily into the quantum work as well. So as I said, I work for Austrade. We're the commercial arm of the Australian government. How can we help? So we obviously are kind of an entry point right now into understanding and learning more about Australia's quantum ecosystem. We can help provide research and advice, help with site visits, whether virtual or physical, provide engagement with various levels of government and various agencies, introductions to partners, roundtables, industry briefings, referrals, and we work really closely with the Department of Home Affairs on talent attraction. So this is all done on a tailored basis. So we work with a variety of companies on some of these and some companies on all of these. And we have a very, very fun conference happening, an educational conference happening in February in Sydney. It has become now a yearly conference. The weather's really nice in Australia. We can't necessarily say that in some of the other countries that have really good quantum capability. So it's a really good time to come to Australia in February and just any time. But this is a great conference, so I highly recommend attending. And feel free to reach out to me or come talk to me here, send me a note, connect on LinkedIn. Thank you for having me, and have a great rest of the conference.